What can I do to live forever? Well, people, I don't think I could help you live forever, and I don't think you can help yourself do that either, unless the research gives us a lot of stem cell type stuff that we can regenerate limbs and all this stuff. But what can we do to live a long, healthy life? What does the research show? What works? What doesn't? The proof is in the pudding. Well, recently, there was a study involving 5,222 people, the geriatric population. Either were old or they had passed, and it followed these people over time. And it showed, of course, that those with a higher healthy lifestyle score, as they call it, lived longer. They had greater odds of becoming a centenarian, or living to 100 years old, or beyond, even. Now, what was included in this healthy lifestyle score? This is what's really, really fascinating. So what's included in this score were things like BMI, dietary diversity, exercise, smoking status, and alcohol. They showed that only 3 of those actually were associated with greater odds of reaching 100. And what were they? They were exercise. They were never smoking. And they were dietary diversity. There was no correlation between alcohol consumption or BMI with odds of becoming a centenarian. And what does that tell us? Well, it tells us that, as bad as alcohol could be for you, smoking is really bad. So that was people that never smoked, okay? They had much, much higher odds of becoming a centenarian. Again, and those who exercised at least somewhat regularly or moved more often, right, than not. And those who had greater dietary diversity, those factors made a difference, right? These people are living longer. They're not stressed. They can have a sip of alcohol every now and then if they really like it. We've talked about trials that have shown people who love their drink every day can have 1 drink a day if it's a female, 2 drinks if it's a male, which I personally don't recommend, but do what you want and don't be stressed, right? Because that's really, a big take home here. And actually have higher HDL cholesterol, right? Because stress is a real killer. So what about BMI? Why didn't BMI matter at all? BMI, to me, is bullshit, right? Because BMI does not take into account body composition, right? It doesn't take into account a full metabolic panel, blood lipid levels, things like that. Just like weight. I think weight, there is an association with being overweight and obviously obese and, poor health outcomes, right? But weight is not a great measure of your physical physique, right? Your physical morphology, nor your health, right? I would be obese in my range, right? And they don't take into account lean muscle mass, and it just doesn't take into account free fat mass, and all these sorts of things. But dietary diversity, we know exercising makes a lot of sense, right? Movement is medicine. We say that all the time here at When Wellness for improving physical and mental health, right? I say that slow because mental health as well, exercise is enormous for, right? And mood, of course. You understand that if you're a regular go-getter in a gym like me, or whatever the hell you're going to do it, But dietary diversity, right? The smoking we get, right? We know smoking is really, really bad. Just destroying your lungs. Obviously, we don't do that. Tons of other carcinogens and harmful compounds in cigarettes and other things that you might smoke. And you're better off just not doing it, right? If you love weed, at least, go for something like edibles instead of smoking a bunch of things out of paper and, whatever. I personally don't partake, but if you do, that's some of my best advice. You do what you want. Right? And that's not medical advice, by the way. I'm not going to get in trouble for that. Disclaimer, this is not intended to treat, diagnose, cure, prevent any disease. I almost forget to say that. I do forget to say that on a couple videos, but that goes for every video, right, of When Wellness. Dietary diversity. Eat the rainbow. Eat the rainbow. You're getting diverse nutrients from all these different foods. And what does it say? Does it say that I should memorize? They didn't mention vegetarian. They didn't mention carnivore. Right, I do a modified carnivore, modified OMAD, personally, right? But eating whole food from nature really is just way more important than focusing on anything like that when it comes to longevity, which was what we're talking about here, and that is typically, of course, associated with better health, right? Mental and physical health. And so Eat the rainbow, guys. You know, have a nice colorful plate. And this doesn't have to be day to day. This could be throughout the week, right? If you're like, all right, well, I had a lot of just seafood and rice the past 2 days. Well, maybe I'll go I haven't had spinach in a little bit. I'll throw some beets in there. I almost never eat those, but they're good. I'll get them. I'll get them this time at the grocery store. Let's get some blueberries. Typically, if it's colorful, you know, it is loaded with antioxidants and all sorts of other things. We say the caveat is if it's poisonous, typically, and that's not always true, but, you know, it really is often. And aside from the antioxidant content and things of that nature in these colorful foods, you're getting vitamins and minerals that you might not be getting other days of the week, right? So don't look at it day to day again. Look at it as having a colorful plate really as often as you can and throughout your weeks and months and your life. So that's what we got for you guys. I thought that was very interesting. I thought it was worth sharing. Who do we got on here? Adams, what's up? DV Adna Sabia. Sang to you today, baby. That's right. You come out here every day. I sing to you every day. There you go. What's going on? We had a good workout today. We did back. Solo, Erica, Moonbow, what's up, Dave? Beast from Knees had a good workout today. That's for damn sure. Crushing it. Hucking those things around like a toy. KD, Brandon Malone, and Jeffrey Cecile. As for now. So we got for you, folks. We'll see you tomorrow, baby. Not sure where, not sure when, but we will see you then. Have an amazing rest of your day. Thank you very much. Happy Wen Wellness. Enjoy.